Hello everybody, my name is Scotty, and I recently installed the FPVLR airside booster mod kit on my Phantom 4. There was a lack of instructions out there because this is a relatively recent model drone. So when I did the install, I took a lot of pictures, and I'm going to go through those with you and explain to you what I did, and hopefully your installation will go as smooth as mine did. First, I want to say I installed two kits on my drone, and most people would probably only install one, and there are a couple different ways you could install this. I chose to put all the components that I could inside the body of the drone. So my power regulator and booster are inside, and only the cables and the antenna are external. I think you literally could install this kit with only connecting to the antenna port on the main chassis using an external battery and hanging everything outside. It would certainly work as well as what I've done. Looking at the pictures here, this is a photo screen grab from FPVLR's website, and he's showing here the booster mounted externally on the battery bracket. I can only assume that these wires going to the regulator are on top of that bracket. But as I say, there's a number of ways you could do this, and take what I did for what it's worth. Use parts of it, throw other parts away. First, I want to caution you, if you're considering doing the installation of this kit solely to save money, there's some drone shops out there that'll do this installation for around $250. I would say hire it done for the $250. You're going to be working with some components inside these machines that are very expensive, and one wrong move will end up costing you way more than what you would save by doing the installation yourself. I would also say, if you are not mechanically inclined, don't know what you're doing, I would also pass on doing this installation yourself. If you need to be told which direction to turn a screw to remove it, you don't need to be installing this kit. So that being said, the only other concern that you need to be aware of is that you're modifying the drone, and that will void the warranty. And there is no hiding this modification. So just be aware that this is a one-way street. If you get into this and make a mistake, it will cost you money to recover. I will also say this mod is very well worth it. At least it has been for me. Second picture I have here is just the description of what the kit has. So you'll have the micro amp, the booster, a power regulator to go with it, antennas and external battery mounts. Now the antenna that comes with the kit is what's called a dipole. It certainly will work with the kit, but I'm also assuming if you're installing this kit, you probably already have the booster system, or at least FPVLR's antennas on your remote control. Those antennas are circular polarized, so I chose to go with circular polarized antennas on the bird as well. There are some cables in the kit, and I guess I'd say minimal instructions. This is the antenna that I chose to go with, also from FPVLR in the 2.4 gigahertz antenna section of their website. I used two right-hand circular polarized and two left-hand circular polarized to match the two antennas on the remote. This is a diagram that I pulled off of our FPVLR group, Israel Novello, if I pronounced it right. I put this up a couple months ago. Pretty handy. He labels the ports inside the remote control and how that corresponds to the antennas out on the front. Now, it would be important to note that these two wires could be switched. If you didn't do the installation yourself, or you don't know which wire was put where from the person that did install it. That's something that you're going to need to verify, because these antennas need to be matched up with the ones on the drone. The way the system works, also a diagram from Israel. You've got one antenna on the remote that transmits and one antenna that receives. So correspondingly on the drone, there's one that receives and one that transmits. The circuit that we're going to be tapping into on the drone is the circuit that transmits back to the remote control. These are the tools that I used. Some side cuts, needle nose pliers, flat tip screwdriver. I want to note, if you have access to some screwdrivers like these, and they're cheap, maybe $5 at a hardware store for the whole kit, working down inside the landing gear on the screws is pretty tight, and there are some wires in there that are hard to get around, and a smooth shank screwdriver made that a lot easier than my little flat tip, which was a bit larger. I've also got a couple picks, I would call them, 190 degree. That was just for reaching in there and grabbing wires to move them, push them around. This tool is a plastic, what would you call it, an awl. It came with my soldering gun. It also came in very handy. Very small Phillips screwdriver, a couple 8mm wrenches, and these two tools came in part of a spudger kit that I got off of eBay. Not very expensive and well worth it. I didn't get those tools until partway through my project. I wish I'd have had them when I started out. Some tweezers and a couple Allen wrenches, a 2mm and a 1.5, as well as a small knife. I also got a kit off eBay with knives to work on the installation on the wires. This is the toolkit that I got for the Allen wrenches, and you can do a search if you need to get some of these. Do a search. This is a screen grab off of eBay. A tweezer set that came in very handy. Excuse me, also off of eBay. The spudger kit, and there are several thousand. This just seemed to have a lot of tools that I would probably need at some point in time. Again, you can see it's not very expensive, under $10. This is the knife kit that I got. And you're also going to need some various RP, SMA fittings and couplings. Not getting real specific here on what you're going to need, but some 90s, some straight pieces and adapters will come in handy when you get to mount the antennas externally on the drone. I also watched several videos, but found two to be most helpful. This video is put together by a fellow that just had to replace his camera gimbal and a couple other parts, but it doesn't delve into the internal wiring that we're going to be dealing with, but otherwise very informative. This is on YouTube, so you can search for that title. And this video, also from YouTube, it's in a language that I don't understand, but just being able to watch somebody take the drone apart was what I was after. There's a fairly long stretch at the beginning of it there where he is taking the gimbal apart, and of course I'm not going to do that, or you're not going to do that, so you can fast forward through a fair part of this video, and but there's some good information in there. And now we'll pause this and start with the second section.